Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Kerry Kriger. I'm the founder and executive director of Save the Frogs. And today I'm going to be talking to all of you about Save the Frogs Day, which I have felt for a long time is the single most important thing that we do at Save the Frogs and the most important project for amphibian conservation as a whole. And that's because from my 5 years of experience leading Save the Frogs Day and coordinating events worldwide, it's become pretty clear to me that it's our best way to get people actively saving frogs and doing things that benefit amphibians. The best way to get volunteers, the best way to get publicity, best way to raise money for amphibian conservation efforts. And what I'm going to be doing first today is running you through some of the events that have gone on for Save the Frogs Day over the past 5 years so that you can see the types of activities that go on Save the Frogs Day. And from my perspective, my goal is to provide everybody out there with educational materials and inspiration so that they not only can go out in their community, but want to go out into their community and educate people about frogs or do something otherwise beneficial for the amphibians. So after I run you through some of the projects that we've done for Save the Frogs Day in the past, Michael Starkey, chairman of Save the Frogs Advisory Committee, is going to talk about some of his Save the Frogs Day experiences. And then if any of you have held a Save the Frogs Day event in the past and would like to briefly update everybody about what you did in any of your experiences, or if you are planning an event for April 26, 2014, the 6th annual Save the Frogs Day, which I hope you are, you're welcome to tell us what you're thinking about doing. And if you have any questions or seek any input or advice, then we can probably help you out. Okay, so Save the Frogs Day, I thought of in late 2008, and the reason I thought to have a Save the Frogs Day, a day dedicated exclusively to amphibians, is because I thought we really needed to get more teachers and students involved, and I thought having a day specifically all about frogs would inspire lots of schools to get active. So we held our first Save the Frogs Day in 2009, and I was very happy to have 40 events take place in 15 countries that year, and that was I was pretty much the only person at Save the Frogs, so that was just using the internet to get the word out to people around the world. So for the first year, and no staff and no budget for that, I was pretty happy about that. So it struck me that Save the Frogs Day definitely has a lot of potential. And in 2010, it was much larger, 104 educational events in 21 countries. And in 2011, we had 145 events in 21 countries. 2012, over 200 events in 39 countries. And April 27th of 2013, the 5th annual Save the Frogs Day, we had over 270 events take place in at least 30 countries, and those events directly reached over 17,000 people. I need to update this slide. And that's just of people who actually registered their event and filled out our survey about how many people attended their event. So the true numbers of how many events took place and how many people participated in those events is actually probably a lot higher than this. But that's still pretty impressive. 17,000 people is a mid-sized stadium. So we're able to educate a lot of people, and that's people who are actually at events. There's also a lot of news publicity generated from this and people seeing flyers for the event. So a lot of awareness is raised from Save the Frogs Day. And that's important because one of the major problems we face is that so many people don't know that frogs are in trouble, and they don't know that frogs are important, and maybe they don't even know ways that they could help out just by improving their own ecological footprint and therefore helping out the planet in many ways. So it's really important that we get the word out. So Save the Frogs Day is a great way to do that, and I strongly encourage you to take part in the 6th annual Save the Frogs Day, April 26, 2014. And I'm about to show you a lot of slides with photos of what people have done in the past. So hopefully, as you see these, you'll start to think of some things that you could do in your community that you think would be fun, because hopefully Save the Frogs Day should be pretty enjoyable for everybody involved. And one thing I like to do that I find enjoyable is to rally in protest of bad policies. So in 2011, we held a Save the Frogs Day rally in D.C., Washington, D.C., at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And that was to call for a federal ban on the use and production of atrazine, which is a harmful herbicide that's very commonly used in the USA. It's already banned in Europe, and it's a contaminant of U.S. groundwater, tap water, and rainwater that causes immunosuppression in frogs, as well as hermaphroditism and potentially complete sex reversal in male frogs at 2.5 parts per billion, which is below the legal limit of what's allowed, and definitely below the limit of below the actual amount that's often found in U.S. tap water. So we're trying to get it banned. So we set up a rally in D.C. and had about 40 people show up, and as well as some journalists from around the world who helped get us a lot of publicity. And we went on a march through D.C. to the White House, and we delivered about 10,000 signatures on atrazine to the EPA 6 days later, because the EPA heard about our rally, since it was right on their front doorstep, and invited me to come speak to their scientists about atrazine. So that was very successful. Atrazine, if you want to hear all about atrazine, what it is, what it does, what Save the Frogs has been doing to work towards a ban, and how you can help out, this Sunday, August the 18th, I believe, it's Sunday at 5 p.m. San Francisco time, we're having a Save the Frogs Academy class all about atrazine. I'll be talking about atrazine, and Dr. Tyrone Hayes, professor from UC Berkeley, who's the world's most foremost atrazine expert, certainly as it relates to frogs. He will be speaking, so definitely join us this Sunday to learn all about atrazine. Other events that have happened on Save the Frogs Day, habitat restoration events, like this one at Antonelli Pond in Santa Cruz, where we got about 40 or 50 volunteers out there helping clear out non-native weeds where the California red-legged frogs live and need more optimal habitat. Bangladesh has been very active in Save the Frogs Day events. They've had several parades through major downtown areas. This one is in Chittagong, and this raises a lot of awareness as you march through a big city. A lot of people turn to look. Scientists have taken people out looking for frogs in their native habitats, and this is important because a lot of people, certainly if they have grown up in a city, perhaps have never seen frogs out in the wild. So it's great to get people out into nature. On that note, I'll give a brief announcement of this Saturday, August 17th, is the first International Take a Hike Day, the whole goal of which is to get people out into nature. Because if people are out in nature, then they will develop a love of nature and appreciation that will make them want to work towards protecting nature. So I strongly encourage all of you to take a hike this August 17th. Check out savethefrogs.com/hike, and I'll talk more about that later today. Lots of teachers hold events on Save the Frogs Day, and here's a teacher teaching his class about frogs in Nepal. And on our Save the Frogs Day web page, which is savethefrogs.com/day, there's a section for teachers there, specifically with materials that teachers can use to help them out on Save the Frogs Day. And also, we do have savethefrogs.com/teachers, the Teachers for Frogs page, and there are a whole lot of materials on that page to help teachers have an easy time educating their students in an effective manner all about frogs. Kids set up events, and they are sometimes very successful at it. Avalon Tyson here got 100 people to her event. She's been holding Save the Frogs Day events in Florida for a few years that are very successful, and she actually has a super cool Save the Frogs Day promo video right on the top of our Save the Frogs Day page you should have a look at. Here's a school in Vermont, and looks like they were all doing Save the Frogs artwork, and I'll talk about that at the end. Art is a really great way to get kids interested and excited about frogs. Kathmandu, Nepal, they held their first scientific conferences ever on frogs and got people from around the country talking about frogs. In Korea, they held a little parade. I'm not sure what you'd call this. This was at the site of a wetland that they helped get protected from incoming skyscraper developments that were planned to be built in this rare wetland area where frogs live. So they helped that get protected. In Florida, we've had a couple of years people going out to remove weeds from ponds. So these people removed over 1,000 pounds of weeds, non-native plants, helping to oxygenate the water. Frog legs protests we've had a couple times in a few states at a restaurant chain that continues to sell non-native American bullfrogs as food. And these bullfrogs come from farms, mostly in China, perhaps in some other countries, and they get imported into the USA, and they spread diseases. And at the farms where they're raised, they're also escaping and becoming non-native invasive predators because they're mostly American bullfrogs. And so they're eating native wildlife, spreading diseases. The restaurant won't stop selling them, so we've had several protests at their restaurants. Some Save the Frogs Day events in India, Uganda. This is a group of university students. We definitely encourage university students to contact their university's wildlife group or environmental group. Most universities have some kind of environmental group, hopefully a Save the Frogs chapter, but probably something else. And it'd be good to contact them well in advance and see if they can get involved holding a Save the Frogs Day event at their university. Texas Tech University set a Guinness Book of World Record with their 700 people all wearing frog masks in one place at the same time. And this was good for educating. Probably 600 plus of those students had not known that frogs were in trouble prior to this day. And also, this got a lot of newspaper publicity. So be creative and come up with good ways to get the word out. In Seattle, Brianna Binder has set up Save the Frogs Day 5K races 2 years in a row. And I went up there last year, and myself and 3 other amphibian biologists gave presentations about amphibians, and there were 260 runners there running for the frogs, raising money for the frogs, getting educated about the frogs, and having a good time. Yosemite National Park and the National Wildlife Federation teamed up a year and a half ago to get the word out on Save the Frogs Day. And that's really great because Yosemite is such a huge national park with so much tourism happening there. And the National Wildlife Federation is the world's largest environmental organization with several million members. So having them helping out, getting the word out about Yosemite's amphibians and worldwide amphibian problems is great. And on that note, the Yosemite toads have had a lot of trouble in the last few decades, and they are endangered, and so are the mountain yellow-legged frogs, which live in the Sierra Nevadas of California. And coming up, I think on October 9th, I think it's October 9th, it'll be in October, we're going to have a Save the Frogs Academy class all about these amphibians, the mountain yellow-legged frogs, Yosemite toads specifically, because right now the federal government is having a call for comment with their proposal to protect a lot of land for these frogs. And there's a lot of controversy and opposition to it. So we'd like to have a class all about that to talk about why it's so important to protect these frogs. But back to Save the Frogs Day. Hey, there's Ranger Rick and our southern orange-eyed tree frog. Pakistan, this is a group of girls who got active for the frogs on Save the Frogs Day and are out informing people. And this was really cool. School in Los Gatos, California went out and removed non-native bullfrogs from their pond. Those bullfrogs are very large. They have large mouths and they eat native frogs. And actually, we have an upcoming Save the Frogs Academy class in late September, I believe. That's we're going to dedicate about a half an hour to the problems of the bullfrogs and what Save the Frogs has been doing to fix that problem of millions of non-native bullfrogs being imported into California each year. We've had a lot of Save the Frogs Day action in Ghana, where we have our first international branch, Save the Frogs Ghana. And Ghana has lots of frog problems, and we've got the primary science and technology university in Ghana, KNUST, doing a lot for the frogs. They have a active Save the Frogs chapter at their university. We've also had a rally at City Hall in San Francisco. We had about 100 people there raising awareness of the problems caused by the city of San Francisco's draining of the Sharp Park wetlands. They drain the wetlands to have dry land for a golf course, and they kill endangered California red-legged frogs illegally in doing that. So we had a protest there, a rally. And here's some more pictures from Ghana. This year had a parade in northern Ghana, and that's the university chapter of students who had presentations at their university all about the amphibians. Michael Starkey will be talking to you in a few minutes about his efforts in Ghana. He was there for Save the Frogs Day and led a class to a group of scientists to teach them about amphibian monitoring techniques and some scientific aspects of amphibian conservation. And we also had a Save the Frogs football team we got set up. And football is very popular in Ghana. So these kids, it's in a village where the kids go out to catch frogs to use them as bait for fishing. So we wanted to get the kids educated about frogs. And because so many people watch soccer, having a Save the Frogs soccer team or football team gets a lot of talk and a lot of visibility in the village. So go check out savethefrogs.com/Ghana to learn more about our Ghana efforts. I was in Colombia earlier this year for Save the Frogs Day, and to help get Save the Frogs Day activities popularized in Colombia. Colombia has actually been involved in Save the Frogs Day all 5 years, so that's great, but this was definitely the biggest year. This group of university students went out monitoring Atelopus frogs, which are very endangered frogs, and sampling for chytrid fungus on the streams. I gave a bunch of presentations throughout Colombia in celebration of Save the Frogs Day, University de los Andes and Javeriana universities in Bogota. On Save the Frogs Day, I was at the Parque Explora in Medellin. I gave a presentation there that was televised throughout Antioquia, the state or department where Medellin is. And shout out to the students in Cali, Save the Frogs Cali. They have been celebrating Save the Frogs Day all 5 years, and they're very active in amphibian conservation. And we expect a lot of Save the Frogs activity coming out of Cali for many years to come. So this is back at Parque Explora on Save the Frogs Day. It's a famous science museum, and so I gave a presentation there, and then I set up an informational table, and I just took a bunch of frog photos of mine, basically from these slideshows that we give, which you can download for free on savethefrogs.com/slideshows. And I just laminated them and taped them to the table, and it's a good way to draw a crowd and talk to people about amphibian natural history, threats to frogs. And I actually went out looking for frogs that night on Save the Frogs Day and found this awesome frog. So savethefrogs.com/Columbia, I encourage you to have a look at if you haven't. We've got a lot of activity happening down there. Save the Frogs Day, as I said, is a fantastic way to get publicity. We got a front page article in Le Monde, the largest paper in France, which is the country that imports more frog legs than anywhere else in the world. It's illegal to eat a native frog in France because they ate most of their frogs already. So they import frogs in from Indonesia and other places, many wild caught frogs. And this obviously educated a lot of French people about frog legs and the problems with frogs. We also got a 2-minute spot on CNN Worldwide TV, which definitely had to have gotten a lot of views. One of the other reasons I started Save the Frogs Day was because I thought it would be a great way to educate politicians about frogs. Politicians have a huge impact on the environment, and we need them to know that frogs are in trouble and to know why frogs are important so that when votes on the environment come up, they vote environmentally friendly. So we have sent out letters to many politicians in the past, and also our volunteers do it, saying frogs are important. Can you please officially recognize Save the Frogs Day in your city, state, wherever you're at? And we've gotten the governors of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and the state of Michigan to officially recognize Save the Frogs Day in those states. We've also gotten the mayor of Washington, D.C., Vancouver, British Columbia, Santa Cruz, and Tampa, Florida, as well as a few others to recognize Save the Frogs Day. And these are a couple of the students who have taken on that responsibility and written their legislators. So anyone can do that, and we have a page. It's clearly linked to on the Save the Frogs Day page. And you can learn all about getting a proclamation, an official proclamation, and send in a letter to your mayor or maybe your governor. Some other ideas for Save the Frogs Day. We're trying to get dissections out of all U.S. public schools by 2014. That's not far away. So one thing to focus on if you're a student or a teacher is educating people about alternatives to frog dissection. An alternative being either just don't dissect frogs and use that time to learn about how to help save frogs, or you could potentially dissect an animal that's not endangered, or even better, just use virtual dissection software, which is very high tech and teaches you many things about dissections, perhaps even better than how traditional dissections work. You could get your school to build a frog pond, or you could build a frog pond in your backyard. Here's a school that built a frog pond. They don't need to take up that much space to get frogs coming in there and breeding and reproducing. Art, I mentioned before, is a great activity for students. Just get them drawing frog art. We have a Save the Frogs art contest, and people often go to the website and learn a lot about frogs in the process of drawing their art. So it's very educational. And we also have a Save the Frogs poetry contest that's been very popular. We've had over 3,000 entries from 62 countries over the past 4 or 5 years. So there's lots of ways that you can get involved in Save the Frogs Day. And running a table, informational table, is a good thing. Perhaps you can do that at your university, or perhaps there's already some event happening in your city, maybe some type of festival, and you can contact them and say, hey, can I run a Save the Frogs table, informational table at this festival that's about to take place? And we have organizer packages, we call them, and you can find the link on the Save the Frogs Day page. If you're organizing an event, then we should be able to get you some materials at cost for certain, or if we succeed in getting another grant to cover the cost of these materials like we did last year, then perhaps we can send you free materials if you are an exceptionally responsible person who's going to hold a great event. And you can use some of those materials to raise money for Save the Frogs, like selling t-shirts. We've got clean canteen water bottles here, mouse pads that are all natural, made of recycled materials. We've got wristbands, pins, stickers, flags. So all this stuff in the meantime is available in our gift center, savethefrogs.com/gifts. So certainly if you want to help support Save the Frogs and have some cool organic cotton t-shirts to wear between now and Save the Frogs Day, it'd be great if you go show your support in our gift center and help us spread the word. But come Save the Frogs Day, if you need materials like these, postcards, informational cards like these, then we can certainly help you out. And we also have some cool posters, which are good for events. Okay, so moving on briefly, we're going to return to Save the Frogs Day in a minute or so, but I want to tell you about what's happening this Saturday, International Take a Hike Day, August 17th, 2013. We have a web page, savethefrogs.com/hike. And this is something that I thought of a while back and would like to get it growing in the same exact way, using the same exact methods we've used for Save the Frogs Day. Save the Frogs Day is specifically about amphibians. International Take a Hike Day, my goal is just to get lots of people outside hiking, because the way that I got into nature and the reason I decided to dedicate my life to protecting the planet is because I used to spend a significant amount of time outside in nature, hiking and camping. And that's where I developed my love of nature, wild places, wilderness, wildlife. So I think it's really important for people to be out there. And even us, we already love nature, but we increasingly spend more of our time in front of technology and inside. And as habitat gets destroyed, nice places to go get further and further away. And that's happening all throughout the world. So we have to actively work harder to get people outside, to get students outside, to keep ourselves outside, to renew our love of nature. So go check out savethefrogs.com/hike. And if you can go for a hike this Saturday, or even better, take a group of people out for a hike, then please register on that page. It's super quick. It just says, who are you, your name, email, what country you're from, basically. How many people do you expect on your hike, just so that we can keep track of numbers, because I like watching these things grow over the years. And If anyone wants to help us promote the Take a Hike Day for 2014, we've got a full year, and it would be great to have a volunteer who could contact hiking companies like REI, Patagonia, outdoor schools, outdoor camps to help us get the word out. And before I move on, just a reminder, Save the Frogs totally depends on your financial support. We're a public charity. To get Save the Frogs Day to be a worldwide event and to keep it growing and have hundreds of events reaching tens of thousands of people every year, we can only do that with your financial support. So whether that's $10 or $10,000, that would be fantastic if you could help out. And that could be, an individual donation from you, or maybe you work at a large company or even a small company, and your company has a corporate philanthropy program, and you could talk to your people about becoming a sponsor or donor to Save the Frogs. So I was going to open this up to questions right now, but I just got reminded that there are several other things related to Save the Frogs Day that I want to mention. So, of course, all of you, I hope that you can set up a Save the Frogs Day event in your area or work with other people in your area to make that happen. But other things that we need is some volunteer assistance helping us coordinate Save the Frogs Day and just handle all the hundreds of people around the world who are holding events and registering and needing things from us and emailing us and asking for assistance. And I usually do that just maybe with a little bit of help from one other person, but it takes up a lot of time, and I'd rather have someone else doing it. So I can train you up on how to do it, and then you'll know how to organize and coordinate a worldwide event, which is a good skill to have. So if anyone wants to help out, that would be great. It's pretty interesting doing it. And we also need people helping promoting Save the Frogs Day, contacting journalists, contacting people with websites who maybe could put our icon up there. And on that note, you may have a website, your company may have a website. If not, you probably have some type of social media that you use. So please, over the next 8 months or so, until April 26, 2014, put up some of our Save the Frogs icons and images off our website with links to savethefrogs.com/day and help us promote the event. Would be great. But if anyone wants to help out in a more formalized manner as a volunteer, then let me know if you can help us solely with promotion of the day so that we can grow Save the Frogs Day. We also need volunteers to help us find partners. That means other probably nonprofits, environmental nonprofits, museums, aquaria, zoos, other groups, nature and hiking groups that would want to take part in Save the Frogs Day. And I would like a volunteer to help us find sponsors. That means contacting companies that may have an interest in education or the environment or kids and help us raise some money for Save the Frogs Day. If anyone out there has any grant writing experience and would like to help us write up some grants to foundations or perhaps even the government to seek financial assistance, Save the Frogs Day is very well established at this point, and we should be able to get some grant money. And if you can help us out, especially if you already have experience with grant writing, then please let me know. Everybody can help out by informing their local schools. If you have a child in a school, that's a great place to start. Maybe you don't, but you certainly have some local schools in your area, and you could contact them, contact the science department, perhaps let them know about Save the Frogs Day, or stop by the school with a couple flyers that you can print out on our Save the Frogs spread the word page and drop them off to the principal and say, hey, frogs are disappearing. It'd be great to have your school helping save the frogs. As I said before, we have slideshows like this one, but all about amphibian conservation. You can go to either savethefrogs.com/teachers or savethefrogs.com/slideshows to download those for free if you want to give a Save the Frogs presentation on Save the Frogs Day or at any other time. Another thing that I seek assistance for that we did not get done yet for 2013. So I'd like to make one for 2013 and then also coming up for 2014 is a map, a Google map of Save the Frogs Day events worldwide. So it's slightly interactive, but at a minimum visually displays how many events we have and where in the world they take place. I think it's really cool to have that, and it can help people find events in their area. Because if you set up an event, then we want people in your area to be able to find out about it. So something else I didn't mention is that if you register your event, and I strongly encourage you to register your event, it's extremely important to me that everybody doing anything on Save the Frogs Day registers their event, even if they think it's a small event, because then we know how many events took place, how many countries, how many people were there, and we can provide you with some info to assist you as well. But having those numbers is so important. When we're applying for grants, we want those numbers to be as large as possible. So your event will get recognition if you register it. And also, when you register your event, we can put it into the Google map, and we can put an event description up on the Save the Frogs Day web page so that everybody, say from Nebraska, if you're from Nebraska, can find out, oh, wow, there's a Save the Frogs Day event happening in Omaha, and that's only 20 minutes from me, and I'm free that day. I'm definitely going to go. And you'll get more people at your event and more activity, and therefore more success. So definitely register your event. But I digress. What I was saying was, if anyone wants to volunteer and they have a little bit of Google Map experience, like they have made a Google Map before, or even if they haven't, they're technologically savvy, then I'd appreciate your assistance if you can volunteer. And let's see. So, reminder, 6th annual Save the Frogs Day, April 26, 2014. And right now I'm going to pass the mic to Save the Frogs ecologist and advisory committee chairman Michael Starkey, who has held events in the past on Save the Frogs Day and is going to tell you about his experiences.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. One of the great things about Save the Frogs Day, it's a decentralized event, meaning that really anyone can take part from all over around the world. And when I started volunteering for Save the Frogs back in 2010, I learned this really quickly about how I could hold my own events and take part in events that were already taking place. And so my first event was in 2011 in San Francisco, where we had that rally on the steps of the government buildings in San Francisco to rally against the Shark Park and how they were illegally killing California red-legged frogs. And it was great because I was able to meet up and partner with these other organizations, and we helped coordinate this rally. That got quite a bit of attention. And we also had a petition out to restore the park into a national wetland. And so this is a great way to organize people working together and to rally people together for a common goal. And in 2012, we were very fortunate to have a table in Yosemite, California, with the National National Wildlife Federation. And I gave a talk and met a lot of interesting people. But we also went out and looked for frogs too, which was a great way to get people coming to the park interested in amphibian ecology, taking them out looking for Yosemite toads, Pacific chorus frogs, and the others. And then in Ghana this last year, we held many events all over the country. And so we had a Drumming for the Frogs event and marches in northern Ghana, and then also in the universities, KNUST, and other universities around the country. But to conclude, so one way that basically anyone can be involved in Save the Frogs Day, and so there's so many different events that are being held around the world. It's your opportunity to see what is best for you and what your abilities can help out with. And I urge you guys all, if you have any questions, to contact us at contact@savethefrogs.com, or look us up on Twitter or Facebook. And definitely check out the website, savethefrogs.com/day, about how you can all hold your own event.
Okay, thanks a lot, Michael. All right. Before I ask, well, let's just get a show of hands right now. Is there anyone in the home audience who would like to speak, if you have a microphone, and tell us anything about what you have done in the past on Save the Frogs Day, any of your experiences, any advice, or is there anybody out there planning to hold an event who would like to tell us what they may already have in mind if they're thinking way out in advance, and we can give you some advice? Anyone? Or does anyone have any questions about Save the Frogs Day and would like to have the mic for a minute? If you do, just raise your hand. Okay, we're gonna get Choti Singh on the line, a Save the Frogs Academy student and Belize Eco Tour participant. Choti, you are on the line. How's it going?
Hi, this is Choti. I'm in Colorado. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. I ran an informational table last year for Save the Frogs Day in a neighboring town. I was joined by people from Colorado State University. There were also a couple of presentations by PhD candidates about frogs, the problems that amphibians are facing, some of the extinction crisis and what's going on, just to educate people. The whole presentation and the informational table was done in conjunction with like a free event, which was a community-based green event. It was all about how to be green and ecologically more viable. So the environment was good for the event. However, I think that it's very important to target where we have more children, possibly. And I think for this year, for 2014, I'm going to try for at the Denver Zoo, which is a large zoo, and on weekends, there are thousands of people that go through. I think at the very least an informational table, but ideally a presentation or two, at least a slide presentation as well, would be very good. That's my plan for 2014, to target more people.
Okay, thanks a lot, Choti. That sounds like a good plan. I may have a contact at the Denver Zoo. I can look and see and let you know about that. And another idea for zoos that would be amazing is if they can donate $1 a ticket that day to Save the Frogs, and that's something that they could promote, that they're holding a big Save the Frogs Day event. They use that as PR that hopefully drives more people, more kids to the zoo that day. That may even make up for that $1 right there. So that's something you can talk to them about. And does anyone else want the microphone to tell us about any of your Save the Frogs Day thoughts, questions, activities? If so, just raise your hand. All right, we've got Kathleen Franco, another Save the Frogs ecologist, on the line. So, Kathleen, hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Excellent.
My only advice that I would, I guess, say is getting more resources, food. You can probably get some people to donate some food if you just go and ask. Just tell them that you're throwing this event for frogs, and a lot of times people are more than willing to donate these things to you. And food is a good way to get people to come. Um, Spaces, you can probably find a park and see if you can throw an event there, or just making connections and telling them what you're doing, and that'll draw more people and not being afraid to just ask if you can get some things for free for this event because it's important. That's, I think, a good suggestion. People definitely like food.
Okay, thanks. So, yes, I know for certain there are local grocery stores here in Santa Cruz, California that help out with nonprofit events. And it is good if it makes a better event. And especially if you know you have food coming and put it on the flyer, free refreshments, it never hurts. So, Kathleen, while you're on, do you want to say a few things about the event that you held? Just a brief
Sure.
summary,
Yeah, I threw a Save the Frogs Day event at the UCSC Arboretum,
which is
and
UC, University of California, Santa Cruz.
yeah, sorry about that. And once again, I just sent a few emails out, talked to some professors, and a lot of time people are more than willing to help. And getting people that are really educated on the matter and giving presentations and just talking to the people afterwards really gets people excited about frogs, and it gave them hope that we can make things better, which is really good. And there was also a pond right next to the arboretum that had red-legged frogs, and people were really excited to come and just try to go on a walk and maybe see some. We didn't get to see any, but people were really excited about that. And there was a lot of merchandise and coloring, and it was a good turnout. We got about 50 to 60 people to show up.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Okay, anyone else have a question or would like to speak about anything Save the Frogs Day related? Just raise your hand. All right, we've got Stacy Bynum, Save the Frogs Belize Eco Tour participant on the line. How's it going, Stacy?
Hi, good. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
I was just going to say I will definitely partner with Chochi for her idea of hosting Save the Frogs Day at the zoo.
Okay, good. So we've got Colorado people banding together. And this is another reason why it's so important to register your event, because we take that event description and we put it online, and I can show you where those go. And then you'll have other Colorado people who can contact you and maybe help out and make some good contacts and get a good volunteer network going. So thanks for that, Stacy. So, yeah, on that note, if you come to the Save the Frogs Day page, which is super easy to find from our website, right there on the left sidebar of any page is the Save the Frogs Day link, and it brings you to the main Save the Frogs Day page. I just want to run down and show you this web page real fast and explain some things to you. Right at the top, you can get to links for all the past years of Save the Frogs Day, stories and photos of things that have taken place in the past. You can see what's happened in your part of the world, because maybe there are people there who have held events in the past and would want to team up. And we've got a cool video from Avalon Tyson for Save the Frogs Day 2013 that you can click through. It'll show it on YouTube. If any of you know video kind of people who like to make videos, it would be great to have a promo video for 2014. And let's see, we've got a section here if you need educational materials for your event. It's got a link to the organizer packages that we would have either at cost or free if we get a grant that can cover their cost. Let's see. Save the Frogs Day awards we've had in the past. We've actually given out $10,380 in grants to help people hold events in their communities. So most of these are going out to people in developing countries who find it very difficult to get resources for their event. And I'm not sure how much funding we'll have set aside for this 6th annual Save the Frogs Day. That comes down to how much we're able to fundraise. Maybe some of you want to help us raise money for Save the Frogs Day. Regardless, you should start fundraising for your own event if you need it. So maybe you should check out savethefrogs.com/fundraise or attend. I think about maybe even a week from today, we're holding a Save the Frogs Academy class all about how you can fundraise. So maybe that's fundraising for Save the Frogs. general fund, or maybe it's just raising money so that you can hold your own event, contacting your friends, family, colleagues, setting up a page on Kickstarter or GoFundMe.com or those type of websites where you can raise money online. So back to this Save the Frogs Day awards. Hopefully we will have awards to give out for people. Those usually go, it's another reason to register your event. We pretty much only give those awards to people who have held events in the past. That proves that you are dedicated and that you we'll know if you held a good event because you'll have sent us a report of your event and hopefully some photos. And if you did a good job in the past, then you're much more likely to receive an award in the future. And we want to be funding people's events because we know that they can be larger, more successful if we have awards to give them to enable them to hold that event. And here's a section for teachers. We actually have a page, Save the Frogs Day Tips for Teachers, that you can link to from right here. That's got lots of ways you can educate your students on Save the Frogs Day. And we also have our normal Teachers for Frogs page, savethefrogs.com/teachers. So both are linked there. For students, we've got links to our Students for Frogs page and a page all about university students and how they can help. A call to action for scientists. We want as many scientists, certainly if they're amphibian biologists, as many as possible taking part. So if you know a local amphibian biologist and your local university may have one, please let them know about Save the Frogs Day too, and they can help spread the word to their students. Sometime soon we'll have an official poster for Save the Frogs Day 2014. If you want to get one of these awesome posters we've had for past years, we probably still have some in stock. So you can order them. They look awesome. They help support our work. And when we have the 2014 posters, they're a great way for you to advertise your own Save the Frogs Day event. As I said, we have a page all about government, politicians, and getting official proclamations about Save the Frogs Day. So here's a section, help get Save the Frogs Day recognized in your state. And learn more and take action here takes you to a page that'll get you up to speed on how to make that a reality, some official politician recognizing Save the Frogs Day. So, yeah, I actually led a class all about Save the Frogs Day. It was a 4-part class for Save the Frogs Academy earlier this year, where we had the same students attending all 4 classes and getting them trained up on how to hold their events, which they did. And we have videos from those classes up on YouTube. The video of this class I will put up on YouTube probably today. It's youtube.com/savethefrog. So you can go, you can pass that video on to anyone in your team. If you have a team of people who are organizing Save the Frogs Day, have them watch the video of this class and maybe of those past classes that we've done, and that'll help you be successful. Here's a link to our fundraising page. Again, if you know any potential sponsors, if your company would like to sponsor Save the Frogs Day or become a partner, then let us know. And yeah, just one final thing. And again, if you have questions, then raise your hand and we'll have a few minutes left for questions. I just want to show you at the top of this page, as I said, you can click through to past year's events. 2013, I'm still adding stories and photos, event descriptions to that page, and I'll hopefully have that finalized within a month, at which time I will announce it through our newsletter. But you can check out other years, Save the Frogs Day 2012. So this is what I was talking about with an event map. You can see this map here, and we need to get those made for 2013 and 2014. So I seek a volunteer for that. And then we've got a huge listing of all these events that have taken place. And as we get photos from those events, and I encourage you to take good photos at your events, then we can add them to the web page for the permanent record to acknowledge your assistance and to inspire future generations of frog savers. So go have a look at those pages from past years to see the type of events that have happened and get some ideas for your own events. So on that note, I'll have a final call for questions. Raise your hand if you want to say anything. If you have anything at all you'd like to ask or say, raise your hand. And otherwise, we are going to conclude this edition of Save the Frogs Academy. And we have no questions, so I will just say Save the Frogs Academy. We have a bunch of classes coming up. In the left sidebar of our site, you'll see the Save the Frogs Academy link, which can take you right to the Save the Frogs Academy page. Register for classes, view the class schedule, and find archived class videos here. So that's where you can find, if you don't go straight to youtube.com/savethefrogs, you'll be able to find archived class videos of all the classes we've given, such as this one, and also upcoming classes. So our next one, this Sunday, August 18th, all about atrazine with very special guest presenter, Dr. Tyrone Hayes of UC Berkeley. So definitely don't miss that. And then a week from today, learn how to fundraise for the frogs. August 25th, amphibian pet trade, all about the pet trade. August 28th, California's amphibians, natural history and threats. September 1st, how university students can save the frogs. September 4th, Intro to Amphibian Conservation in Spanish. September 8th, we're going to be talking all about our efforts in Ghana and how you can help out saving Africa's frogs, whether you're in Ghana or overseas. September 11th, I'll be talking all about the chytrid fungus, the worst disease in recorded history, which is what I studied and researched during my PhD time in Australia. September 15th, how to organize a frog event or a rally in your city. September 18th, talking about all about Save the Frogs and our various chapters and how those chapters operate, how you can start a chapter. And I'll be talking a lot about volunteering. If you want to become an official Save the Frogs volunteer, we'll be discussing that on September 18th. September 22nd, talking all about dissections and brainstorming, hopefully getting some of your thoughts on how we can get frog dissections out of U.S. public schools and hopefully other schools as well. And then September 25th, we'll be talking about the Sharp Park wetlands and invasive bullfrogs. So mark those on your calendar, and we'll have other classes announced soon. Our goal is to have these Save the Frogs Academy free online classes happening twice a week, every week. Currently, it's Sundays 5 p.m. and Wednesdays 11 a.m. U.S. Pacific time. So please try to find some other people to attend these classes. If you know people who may be interested, let them know that you learn a lot about amphibians, conservation, different strategies for educating the public and getting things done to protect wildlife. On that note, I thank you all for attending Save the Frogs Academy. I am Dr. Kerry Kriger, founder and executive director of Save the Frogs, wishing you a great day, and I will see you back here on Sunday to talk about atrazine. Thanks a lot.